Well, we've reached the quarter-final stage of the Arachas Irish Senior Cup and the draw's already been made. It's going to be on your screens now. I'll just run you through it. The Hills are hosting Estonians. Pembroke host Balbriggan. Merrion make the trip up to the Lawn to face Warringstown, and Leinster host Phoenix in the final quarter-final at the All-Leinster affair. With me to discuss it is Ali McCalmont. Ali, you're very welcome. It's getting to that stage of the year now where teams are mapping their routes to the final.
Oh, absolutely. Rounds 1 and 2, it's just sort of getting through those. But now, once you've got to the quarterfinals, you're immediately thinking about August and getting to that final. So yeah, some big ties coming up here, and between the two unions, you know, it's getting to the serious stage now.
Well, we'll start straight away with the Hills. They had a big win against your club Carrickfergus in the last round. They're playing Estonians. Mark Donegan with a big century against Carrickfergus in the last round. Should be a great game.
That'll be a cracking game. I witnessed the Hills firsthand in the last round, did a bit of work on the game, and I know from the home side they were taking wickets as they went. But just another Interpro guy just kept coming and coming. You know, we got Murray Commons, and then Mark Donegan walks in, and he was class. You know, he just knocked it around, run a ball. But then towards the end of the innings, he just took off and got a fantastic century for them, and they are very strong in their batting line-up, very strong. And then throw in Sean McNichol. He's been taking wickets for fun recently, so they are a serious side.
Estonians had a big win themselves in the All-NCU affair between Lisbon. That's going to be a difficult away game for them, though, but they've got strength, particularly at the top of the order.
They've been a surprise package this year. I think their balance of their team this year has been much, much better. And yeah, they've started really well. Lost their last couple in the league, but big win last round. They've got those two guys who have performed really well in the Interprovincials, Cade Carmichael, and I think the best bowler so far in the Interprovincials, which is Cian Robertson. He's been bowling tremendously for the Warriors, and so they're a good side. Hills, though, very, very strong.
Yeah, it's a big trip for Estonians to the Vineyard. We'll move now to an All-Leinster affair between Pembroke and Balbriggan. Pembroke had a big win against Cork County. Balbriggan, one of the real standout teams in Leinster over the last couple of years, had a big win against Rower Union. That's going to be the 2019 champions against the side who really haven't got this far in the Irish Senior Cup before. So it's a big opportunity for Balbriggan. Andre Botha, of course, their head coach.
Yeah, and he's now stepped up obviously for the Leinster Lightning as well. And Balbriggan's certainly a team that's been up and coming and getting noticed up in the NCU and Northwest areas. You know, I have to know a little bit more about, and they're certainly an upcoming team. Already a trophy winner this year and in the quarterfinals now. Obviously a tough ask to go there, but I think with the lineup they've got at the minute, getting out of jail at Railway Union there, they were in a bit of bother earlier on, but just their batting lineup 1 to 11 looks to be pretty strong.
Yeah, Matt Pollard with a big performance for Balbriggan. Never an easy place to go, Railway Union. But Pembroke, a little bit difficult for them. They don't always have their Irish internationals available, so more pressure on the likes of JJ Garth, Donica Tucker, Dermot Tucker. These guys, Paul Lawson, experienced club players. Yeah,
JJ's been in serious form lately. I just think without the Irish internationals and maybe just playing championship cricket, just that toughness of playing week in, week out against the top sides might just be a little bit against them. I know they're well experienced in this tournament, but just without the experience in the lineup and just playing that slightly lower level, slightly lower level, the Balbriggan are used to it week in, week out at the minute, and I think they might just come on top.
We'll go to one of the big heavyweight clashes between Warringstown and Merrion. 3 times these sides have met in the final, 2015, 2016 and 2018. 6 times they've met in the competition since 2010. But it's a little bit different sides. Both of them, you know, a lot different to what we've seen from them. New players coming in. Should be a cracking game up at the Lawn.
Oh, I think that'll be an absolute belter. One of the top sides in the tournament that there's ever been in Warringstown against Merrion, who similarly in the last 10 years in particular have been terrific in the tournament. Yeah, 2 different sides now, and particularly Warringstown. This season they've been very, very unlucky with injuries and unavailability with their Irish guys. And then their Irish guys away at the test match, and he has a serious injury. So James McCalmont will probably be out for them, and he may well have been playing in this game because he wouldn't have been in the one-day series, possibly. So he's out. They've also lost Lee Nelson now in their top order. So yeah, big change for them. But the one thing about Warringstown is they are seriously resilient, and they will fight tooth and nail. They probably should have gone out in the last round against Clontarf, but just that will to win it at Warringstown stands them in good stead.
Particularly at home when they're up at the Lawn. It's a very difficult place to go, isn't it?
Well, apparently the Merrion boys are a bit annoyed about it being going to the Lawn yet again. But yes, that is it. Anybody that's involved in Irish cricket knows it's a hotbed going there. Warringstown's a tough place to go, and they will fight tooth and nail. For me, Merrion are the better side, 1 to 11. But I think home advantage might just swing it in Warringstown's favour.
Yeah, so a big away trip for Marion up to the lawn. Now we go to Leinster at home to Phoenix. Leinster have been the NCU giant killers so far this season, beating CSNI and COYMS. They have to be very feared going into the next stage.
Yeah, they're getting the old voodoo doll up in the NCU at the minute. They're picking out the NCU teams at the minute, taking out CSNI in a really close game up at Stormont. But then probably the biggest surprise in the last round, CI have been the strongest team in the NCU for a couple of years now, and we're heading down the Rathmines there. But really quite a comfortable win for Leinster in the end. They performed really well. And just looking at their record this year, they're kind of going under the radar a little bit. You know, they've qualified, I think, for the Cup semi-finals last weekend there, and no real changes in their team. It's kind of a settled unit, and they seem to be a team that's sort of on the up again.
Absolutely, Leinster certainly on the up, and they'll be at home to Phoenix 1986 winners. They had a big win against North Down, and when they've all their guns firing, Phoenix, they really have a strong team.
Absolutely. I mean, they won that game at North Down quite comfortably, and going to the green is never easy, as we mentioned about Warringstown. So to win that game as comfortably as they did was a bit of a surprise in a way, but they're hard team to beat. And I'm looking down it, I think they're the only team that was in last year's semi-finals that's actually in the quarter-finals still, with the other three already out. So again, they have experience of last year getting to a semi. They'll want to go one step further, but going to Leinster might be difficult.
Yeah, so it should be a cracking quarter-final draw. You've got it up on your screen now. I'm just going to ask you for your predictions, Ali. Starting in the Vineyard, Estonians making the trip to the Hills. Who's your pick for that one?
Yeah, I mentioned a few times, I think the Hills, possibly 1 to 11, are the best unit in the tournament. So I'll take the Hills to actually knock out the NCU's and Estonians.
Balbriggan make the trip south side to face Pembroke.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier, I think Balbriggan's experience playing at the top level now, I think that'll just get them over the line.
Probably the pick of the games, Warringstown hosting Marion.
Toughest one to call for me because, as I said earlier, I think Marion are better 1 to 11, but I just think home advantage. And just to keep the NCU flying, I think Warringstown just might nick it.
And then Leinster hosting Phoenix. You going for another home win?
I am actually. I'm taking Leinster just on their form at the minute, just to turn over Phoenix and get through to the semi-final.
So there you have it. That's the quarter-final draw for the Arachas Irish Senior Cup. Now we're going to move on to the Arachas Irish National Cup. Well, that's the draw. We'll start with St Johnstone. Graham McCarthy's been in the runs. He's coaching the side as well.
Yeah, Graham McCarthy, an ex-Irish international, has gone to St Johnstone this year to take up the coaching role, but still remains a very serious player. He's bowling as still as good as ever, but as you say, in the last round, 98 for St Johnstone got them through to this quarter-final. And they'll be a tough ask. If this game was at Kenure and at home for Rush, I'd really fancy them to win. But when you go up to Donegal, up to St Johnstone, hospitality's great, but Rush will find it a tough old ask up there.
Well, Rush had a big win in the last round, and probably the biggest game between Rush and North County. Pretty easy winners, winning by 110 runs. Neil Rock been in brilliant form for club already in the Irish National Cup, but also for his province, the Northern Knights.
Absolutely, that was a huge win. Everybody talked about that being the tie of the round in the last round, and Rush won it quite comfortably. Neil Rock's been outstanding this year, both, as you say, for his club, but also moving up into provincial Knights. He's taken on the captaincy role for quite a lot and did the job in the T20, and the Knights won all 3 games. I think that just extra responsibility is just taking his game to another level. Probably a little bit unlucky that Lorcan's there at the minute in the Ireland setup, but it's good to see him pushing and really giving Lorcan, somebody's coming behind you if he doesn't perform. So Neil Rock's been in sensational form this year. But, Rush going up, as I say, to St Johnstone, it'll be a little bit tougher than if it would be at home.
It was a final over thriller when Terranure edged out Knockcarley by 3 runs. They're going to have a very difficult away game up to Muckamore. They've had a brilliant start to the season.
Oh, they very much have. Muckamore is a championship side in the NCU, but I was chatting to their captain, Neil Gill, last night. He tells me that they're 13 wins from 13 this year, as I would say, unbeaten, and winning becomes a habit. And just the way they're going at the minute, they've got a settled lineup and a wee bit of experience in there as well. They've brought in Ted Britton from CIYMS, serial winner, and they're going really well. Terranure coming up, obviously, finalists last year. They'll be wanting to go back again this year because they experienced the final last year, and it's a great event getting to a final. So tough call, that one.
Cliftonville Academy had a big win down at Athlone. A couple of Centurions for them.
Very, very good side at the minute. Cliftonville Academy have just clicked over the past few weeks. And again, Jared Wilson going really well for them. He's come down from new buildings to take over the coaching role at Cliftonville Academy. And they're in the actual Premier League. So again, just playing Premier League cricket week in, week out. It's a tough standard in the NCU now. So they'll be getting used to tough games week in, week out. And they're just starting to hit a wee bit of form, Cliftonville Academy.
Limerick had a big win in the last round against Cregga. They were at home, Limerick, but still a very impressive win and disappointment for Cregga, I'm sure.
It is, and Limerick flying the flag, obviously, for Munster. It's good to see them doing well. Maybe not so much last year, but they've got through to a quarter-final now, and they'll be looking forward to that now. It's probably a bit of a shot in the dark for them to take this on in a quarter-final stage, but if they can reach a semi-final, what a shot in the arm that would be for Munster cricket.
Well, Derry Aki were outstanding in the last round. 2 centurions for them, Jamie McCalmont with 140 and Patrick Kruger with 182. By all accounts, huge hitting.
Yeah, from the NCU and all about Patrick Kruger this year. Derry Aki have struggled in the league. They got their first win just this past weekend there against Warringstown, which was a tremendous win for them. But they've been playing really, really good cricket. They've been competitive all year. 3rd draw at Queensway, which is a real advantage for them. And this guy, Patrick Kruger, watch out for him. He can really hit a ball.
Well, we'll get Ali's predictions now. The draw will be back up on your screens. Rush making the trip to St Johnstone? Oh.
Well, that would be a Rush win if it had been a Kenure. Although it's away, I still fancy the experienced team to win there. Rush.
Another away trip for a Leinster side. Terenure up to Muckamore. It's a difficult one to call, this.
That's the hardest one to call for me. Again, Terenure with their experience, but I'm going to stick my NCU hat on here. I nailed them from the first round, and I think Muckamore might just nick through there.
Well, we'll see where your NCU hat is here with Cliftonville Academy at home to Killyclooney.
Sorry, same again here. Cliftonville Academy starting to hit a bit of form. Their top order's coming good now, as you mentioned, Jared Wilson as well. If they can get Max Burton fit again, Cliftonville Academy.
Well, it's the finalists in 2013, Derry Aki against the finalists in 2018, Limerick. Very difficult and long away trip for Limerick, but they showed in the last round they have the pedigree. Where's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think again, unfortunately, it's going to be an NCU win here. This team is really coming good now, Derry Aki. Small ground, and I think that if they win and bat first, that could be a huge total for Derry Aki. So Derry Aki for me.
Well, it'll be interesting to see, Ali, how your predictions come for both the Arachas Irish Senior Cup and the Arachas Irish National Cup. Reminder, these quarter-final games take place on Sunday the 18th of June, where we're very much looking forward to them, and we'll come back in a few weeks to see how Ali's predictions going on. But from myself and Ali, all the best.